Hi everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome to Patreon. If you have joined or subscribed, it's because you're interested in global weather events and higher consciousness. Perhaps you yourself have been waking up to higher truths in your own life. Perhaps you have been experiencing some health issues or sensitivities that are not necessarily easy to detect or to describe or even diagnose or treat. And maybe you're just merely a light worker and you are wanting to align with your higher self to help support the changes on the earth right now, to say the least. So again, welcome and thank you. This is the very first video reading that I'm recording, and honestly, I wasn't intending to pull cards to make videos on Patreon, but something happened overnight that I really could not help myself. So I'm going to share with you my own personal practice that I have created through my process of dealing with physical symptoms, which are caused by the solar flares and the sun and other space weather, for lack of a better word. So the best way that I can describe or share this information with you now is to just get into it. And before I get started, I want you to know that I am a Reiki master. That doesn't make me better than any one of you, by the way. In fact, I've learned over the years, it's been 13 years since I started using and I tuned to Reiki Mastery, that I realized that this energy is something that any one of you can tap into as well. But in my process, I was wanting to heal certain aspects of my emotions and my physical body. And in that process, it helped me to learn more about my chakras, which are the energy centers of the body, how to come into alignment to create intentions of rituals and remedies for healing. And again, my entire purpose at the time was for emotional freedom, because there were deep emotional things that were triggering inside of me. And so that's really what called me towards energy healing in general. And there are many different ways that we can heal our energy, but I think a lot of people think that healing is just a physical thing or it's the organs, but there are so many metaphysical energies that also affect our health and our well-being, not just emotional, but also physical, mental, spiritual, etc. So, allow me to teach you something. Allow me to share something with you that you probably do not already know. So, overnight, something woke me up, and I have my new routine. I have apps on my phone that allow me to track events that are causing me to feel certain things. And I always want to know, why am I feeling that symptom? What's going on? It's not something that I usually see, but I have a curious mind and I want to know the truth. So overnight, something was happening. I got up, I turned on my phone, I looked at the space weather app, and it showed it's called a transis equatorial hole from the sun facing the earth. And I've experienced this too many times already that I was not surprised that this coronal hole was facing the earth. The most direct answer or information I can give you right now is that if you're experiencing any kind of physical sensations or sleeplessness, or maybe you're experiencing pain or something else. The energies and the frequencies that come through the solar and the solar flares affect the earth. That impacts the earth on such a profound way, and in many other ways that humans in general they don't necessarily recognize. And so when I got up this morning, because I was feeling some discomfort in my shoulders, my rotator cuffs, which is honestly something that I've been dealing with for a little bit over a year now, which I'll probably talk more about later. But it's due to the astrological transits that I'm experiencing in my personal astrology, which is causing changes in my physical body as well. And so this morning when I got up, as soon as I was awake enough to go to the cards, I went to these karma cards. These are astrology. And I also have random messages that I've written down on note cards. And honestly, the answers that I was given actually makes a lot of sense. But first, let me just show you the messages that were on the note cards. And I shuffled this like I would any other kind of tarot reading. I wanted to know what has affected the sensitivities in my rotator cuffs and my shoulders, because it makes my shoulders feel stuck, like I'm not able to move or rotate my arms. It's a very uncomfortable experience. But when I already knew that there was something happening through the sun, but then when I pulled these cards, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what I read about the solar event that happened overnight, this hole from the sun is facing the equator. And I already posted something on Patreon with a little bit more information about that sun effect. And at first when I pulled this card, I thought Australia. I'm like, well, that's just weird. Why would Australia, make me feel something in my shoulders? But if this is an Earth event, and I haven't done any research yet on the news this morning to see, there's probably some sort of weather significance in Australia right now, or they're about to have an extreme event there. And Australia is right there next to, well, they're closest to the equator, are they not? So these were the other cards. So Isis also it's a goddess of healing, the goddess of magic. Transit, which I'm always grateful for when this card pops up, because it lets me know there is a specific astrological transit that, it might not be happening for you personally or for me personally, but it's definitely a transit that is affecting the Earth. And right now, Earth, of course, is going through its ascension process. And all we can do as humans is try to keep up. But I love the fact that this card was actually stuck behind the other one, reminding me that I'm safe. And whatever is causing these energies came from beyond the 12th dimension. And so when I saw this card, I'm thinking of the comet, the AI Atlas, which is a comet, which is an ice rock. But this comet, and you may or may not have heard about it, everyone who's interested in space phenomena is talking about it. But I directly connected with it using telepathy a few weeks ago, wanting to know, who are you, what is your purpose, what's going on. And I wanted to communicate with it to find out, because I was sensing that it was bringing something to the Earth, but I wasn't quite sure what that was. Meanwhile, there have been, certain astrologers, and there's a lady that channels Archangel Raphael. I sent the question to her channel asking about these comets. And a few days later, she recorded a podcast with an astrologer, and she connected more directly with the comet, which described exactly what it is, because the comet is its own consciousness, and it itself said it was it's an ancient existence, and it's from a far off part in the universe. And that's what's delivering some consciousness codes. And when it makes a conjunction with the sun over the next couple of months, the ice crystals, which are also consciousness, are going to melt by the sun's rays, and they're going to be evaporated by the sun and sent to the earth. So I was already sensing that there would probably be significant earth events or weather changes, or possibly volcanoes or earthquakes or other kind of storms that may happen on the earth, because the earth is changing her structure. And everything that's happening to everyone right now on the planet is happening because of the ascension process, to say the least. But technically, even through the sun's activity and the solar flares, our human bodies are receiving codes of consciousness that are affecting and changing our DNA, our cellular structure, because the human body is also going through evolutionary changes, which you and I are witnessing. We are the byproduct of these evolutionary changes. So if you know a little bit about history and the evolution of humans, and some people who think that, once we were apes and then the body changed and we became what we are today, which some would disagree with that. But what we're all experiencing right now in our bodies and on the earth at this time are evolutionary changes that are happening within the human as well. So again, not everyone is feeling or having these symptoms, but I definitely am. So there are deeper energies, from the other end of, like, the far reaches of the universe, that are coming in and assisting the earth with its transition at this time. So now that you're more aware of some things that are happening, and for those of you who have been sensitive and feeling things that you're not quite sure why you're experiencing that kind of physical sensation, well, now you have a better idea. So when I went to my astrology deck, because I am familiar enough with astrology and transits, I asked again what is causing the physical sensations in my body that are uncomfortable for me right now, because I want to track the source. I want to know where it's coming from. So this is a 10 card spread, but let me just lay these cards out first, and then I will describe to you what it means more specifically. Here, that's better. And then so this is a Celtic cross, or it might be pronounced Celtic cross, depending on where you're from and what accent you speak with. Technically, the very first card, Leo, doesn't really have anything to do necessarily with the zodiac sign, although it might. There's a fixed star called Regulus, which I haven't done the research on that yet, but this is fire energy. So it's creating leadership qualities. But fire as an element and a transit can cause inflammation in the physical body. So in my case, unfortunately, it causes inflammation in my shoulder, my rotator cuffs. Another aspect to this is Scorpio. So this is like deep secrets, purification. And Scorpio is water. So again, the comet, which is bringing ice particles of consciousness to bring more light and other nutrients to the planet. But also, I think that this AI Atlas comet is bringing in consciousness and water particles that are going into the oceans and naturally the equator separates the ocean, right? The northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere. But this is something that's invisible, it's emotional. It's not necessarily something that anyone's going to be able to logically understand. So then there's Cancer, which is water, intuition, feelings. It's also protection. So this was the transequatorial hole from the sun during the middle of the early morning hours for me last night. So 8th house is resources, personal resources and other people's resources. Notice here there's 8th house and 2nd house. So the 8th house represents deep cycles and changes, endings, beginnings. 2nd house are resources, our values, what we believe. So even so far, the top cards are saying that, the sun positioning last night, opening this hole facing the earth, is causing these sorts of changes within not only the earth, but within the human body as well. Why? To bring information, to communicate. I love the fact that Gemini card showed up in this spread because it's sharing information. What do you need to know? It's changing cellular structure, and again, DNA. Mercury is mental, but it's information, or something that will bring your awareness to a physical sensation, or awareness to your intuition. So an easier way to describe this might be to wake more people up. Spiritual awakenings, becoming aware of the truth, becoming aware of themselves. Insight and wisdom to understand. So there's Sagittarius energy, which is more fire. So there's fire and air, which can cause a lot of inflammation in the physical body. Okay, and then the next card is 7th house, which is partnerships. But it's also balance and cooperation. So the diplomat, get a fair deal. I feel like what's happening through the sun and the other space weather events is that everything in the universe is assisting the planet right now to try to maintain a positive balance. A balancing between, to keep the light, or allow the light to step into more power and reclaim its power over the darkness. Another description of that would be the separation between fear and love. So we're at a choice point right now in humanity. And then Taurus energy, which is earth. So these things are affecting the earth naturally, affecting the earth's resources. And what is another description of a personal resource for each one of us? Our body. Our physical body is also a resource. We need our body to do things. But also, when I was looking more closely at this card, Taurus, and the symbol of Taurus is the bull. And I was thinking about resources. So these are earth resources that we need. I'm thinking maybe all of these energies are helping the cows. But then why do we eat cows in the first place? Does the human body really need to eat meat? And so that made me go deeper into this bull or the cow. And what people usually eat from the cow, the meat, the beef, no matter what portion, where it's from, it's that meat is the cow's muscle, or it was. And so it might be a sign or a precaution or a warning for some of you. If you eat a lot of beef, if you're experiencing a lot of physical changes or discomfort, you might try to replace the beef with something else, something that is easier for the body to digest. Because, and I'm only saying the next statement because I used to be a licensed massage therapist. I know about the body and the muscles and all the tissues within it. And so muscles retain memories. And so I was asking specifically about my shoulder, my rotator cuff, because I was experiencing a little bit of achiness and pain. And when I laid out these cards, I'm thinking, okay, I am sensitive emotionally. I've worked really hard on my emotional triggers to balance those so that I'm not emotionally triggered by other people or events or that sort of thing. But also, there's memory that still remains in the muscles in all of our bodies, not just mine, but yours as well. And so it would make sense that the solar flares and other geomagnetic activity that happened on the planet, when my shoulder, my rotator cuff, the muscles and the tissues that hold that part of the body together, what's happening here is that these intensities from the sun and the geomagnetic activity is triggering these memories, painful memories, painful issues in the shoulder, because these painful memories need to be released from the physical body. So there's a lot of memory and pain that many people are experiencing right now because our muscles are being triggered to let go. And so, of course, whenever anything comes into our awareness, emotional awareness or otherwise, and a lot of the times, if you don't really understand why you're experiencing any unusual symptom or pain, it could even be something emotional. It's most likely that this ascension process on the earth is rising, and so we have to do all that we can to make adjustments within our human bodies as well, which also includes what we eat, what we drink, what we think. But also there are painful memories that is also energy. It's not something that you see physically, but it's being released through us. Some of these painful memories held in the muscles, you might consider, does the earth have muscles? I never really thought about that question before. Probably. But all of these painful memories are being released. In every way it can possibly be released through whatever resources on the planet. These painful memories and cycles and patterns from the past, they need to come to the surface, to be brought into the light, so that they can be healed, released, or whatever it is that we can do to, alleviate pain on the planet even. And so next year, when there are more planets that are going to be in fire signs, the intensity is probably going to increase. And so the more capable we are to manage our own physical senses and our bodies and our emotions, I think the easier it will be for us humans to make adjustments in our daily routine, in our daily lifestyles as well, including our diet, right? Meditations. There's so many things that we can do to assist the body in its healing. So it kind of makes sense that this Isis card popped up. And actually, the Eye of Horus got my attention yesterday too. And I researched that this morning as well as Isis because I couldn't remember what they represented in mythology. And they're both healers. It's magical healing. And so in a sense, we could say that the sun's participation with its activity and its solar flares are participating in the magical healing and ascension of the planet. And of course, that is going to affect the rest of us, all of life, everything that is alive on the planet as well. So we are evolving together as a humanity, as an Earth collective at this time. And the oceans are conscious as well. And the creatures in the oceans know exactly what's going on because they are more awake and aware than humans are. So that being said, I hope this brought you a lot of reasoning or understanding, or perhaps now there's something more that you may want to research on your own. And if you're learning how to use tarot cards or creating your own to get answers to your questions that you can't find anywhere else, then this should be helpful for you. But another reason why I created the Patreon is because I am able to track through astrology transits, particular transits that might be affecting one's individual astrology chart that are causing physical symptoms. And so it's my intention to help any one of you who might be experiencing a health issue that is ongoing. And if you're wanting to know the truth, the answers, and resolution, find ways to heal that, to transcend it, to rise above it. This is why I created this Patreon channel. So if you are experiencing something, if you know the date of origin when you started having this issue with your health, that will be extremely helpful, especially if I'm going to research your astrology for you to help you to understand the underlying causes, because it's a necessity to understand the underlying cause in order to find the remedy or the way to heal it and the way to release it. So it does require a deep dive. And the cool thing is, I'm willing to help you. I want to help you. And I really don't know if there's anyone else on the internet that offers that kind of help or assistance with the understanding of these things that are happening, within our bodies, within our emotions, our minds, or, even across the entire globe, too. So I'm super excited that you have joined. If you have a request, do feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a private message here on Patreon. Other than that, I wish you a wonderful day, and if you would like to receive some distance Reiki from me, please do let me know, and I will send it to you as soon as I receive your request. Okay, I will be back soon with some more posts and some more messages. Bye for now.